So just to introduce myself, my name is Dr. Tim. I'm the owner and founder of Total Health Chiropractic. We have 5 clinics here in Singapore, 10 doctors. We see over 1,500 clients every single week. And we're pretty much on the front line helping people stay healthy in this crazy mixed up world that we're presently living in. And as I said, today I want to talk about some powerful strategies for navigating the twists and turns of life and help you create some healthy habits. People are full of good intentions, we know that, but people seem to revert very quickly back to their default. If we can harness habits, it can be very, very, very powerful. It can be very good for us, but if we have more bad habits and good habits, then it can also be very destructive. I'm sure you can understand that. Whatever our normal is, we can change our normal just by changing our mindset and changing a few habits along the way. So let's just understand a little bit about habits and why they are so important. We know habits are acquired behaviors that have become automatic. They are behavior patterns, if you like, and they are acquired by frequent repetition or exposure to something. When we do something repeatedly, eventually these actions become automatic. They become programmed into our subconscious, and all you need is some kind of trigger, and off we go, straight back onto our habit, good or bad. Habits are neurologically programmed into us to make life easier. If we do things automatically, then it frees up our brain space, our brain capacity, and we can actually do more in the day. We become more efficient. Just think about, for example, your morning routine. You jump out of bed, you go to the bathroom, you have a wash, you do your teeth, you go downstairs, have your breakfast. You're not thinking too much about what you're doing. It's automatic. And you might be actually planning your day at work while you're going through all this automatic behavior. For any of you who drive a car, you can drive a car and you can suddenly realize, oh, I don't remember driving the last 10 minutes. I've been thinking about something else, because your body's on automatic. And it does make life easier. Okay, but what we want to remember is that as we go through life, we're always making and breaking habits, good or bad. It's a fact that by the age of 35, 95% of who we are is a memorized set of behaviors and subconscious programs. And these are the way we interpret life, our attitudes, our responses, and our behaviors. 95% of who we are, how we portray ourselves to the outside world, are habits. Okay, interesting. If only we could completely take control and get the best from our brains, life would be much, much easier. We are a miracle of evolution, but the problem is we don't come anywhere close to our potential because really our brain's been hijacked by something that takes away our focus. And let's try and understand that. We have our frontal lobe there, which is 40% of our brain. It's right at the front, and this gives us metacognition. It's the higher levels of thought and how we analyze the world. Metacognition means we can actually think about what we think about. But the problem is the rest of our brain, and it's the more powerful part of our brain, is the subconscious brain. And that is programmed for survival. And you know what I mean by survival, right? This is the brain is looking for stressors, things that may be dangerous. By the time we're 35, 95% of our brain is pre-programmed, right? Emotions, feelings, habits. But the two big things that we're programmed for is to conserve energy. So thinking about, we much prefer to lie on the sofa than go to the gym, right? And to eat high energy food. And of course, we love to have sweet things, and we love to have fatty food as well. We are programmed because this is high energy food, and it helps our species survive. I'd like you to think about, what would your most amazing life look like? Because if you can get a picture of your most amazing life, then you can manifest it, because we are great manifestors as human beings. Think about what your goal is in life. Think about your health. What do you need? What do you need your health for? All these things. These are very important aspects of life. The problem is, most of us, unfortunately, spend a lot of our time just living this superficial life, this treadmill of modern life, if you like. We're not thinking too deeply. We just get on with it, and it's because our brain's been hijacked. But think a bit more about your brain. It is unbelievable. You've got 100 billion neurons. Each one of those has got 10,000 connections or synapses. And that actually means that you are a miracle, and you have got that many connections. You know how big that number is? That is 1,000,000 billion. That's how many connections you've got. This is how smart your computer is. You literally have got more connections than every single cell phone on this planet combined. And you've got that all going on, right? This gives you almost unlimited potential to tap into that. But unfortunately, very few of us come even close. We first make our habits, then our habits make us. I mean, this is absolutely true. And it's something that we really want to be thinking about. We can literally program our brain so that as we do things, and we do things repetitiously, they become us. We can program ourselves for habits of health or habits of disease. Let's think about that. If you think about the way you go through your life, what are you creating? Good habits or bad habits? And today I'm going to show you how we can create some good habits. Problem is, when we've decided that we're really going to do something, you know, it might be 1st of January and we've got our New Year's resolutions. Why does everybody give up so soon? We've all done it. We decide to make healthy changes, but what happens? We run with it for a little while, but then inevitably we lose our way and we fall at the first hurdle. Is it because we're weak? We can't stick to our guns? Well, here's some of the reasons, perhaps. We try to change too many habits all at once and too soon. We get impatient with the results that don't come more quickly. You know, we all get impatient. What else? Well, we slip up. When life gets busy, we revert to our default. We go back to square one. Why is that? Because that is our comfort area. When life gets hectic, we get stressed. So we go back to where things are easy, back to square one. We never get our mindset right. And remember, our mindset can be our greatest ally if we can only tap into it. The problem is we're really bad. We really suck at building these healthy habits. Why? Well, we've got that lizard brain, remember? That's subconscious. It's the, where is it? It's the amygdala. It's right in there, right in there. And this controls our automatic self-preservation behavior. And it's all about the survival of our species. So think about the 5 Fs. This lizard brain wants us to feed, it wants us to fight, it wants us to flee, and it wants us to reproduce, if you know what I mean. But we have very little control of our destiny if we live our entire life running on these subconscious programs. We want to take control. It's a fact that every day we have about 60,000 thoughts, but it's also a fact that 90% of our thoughts that we have today are the same ones we had yesterday, because we have these unconscious programs that are running in the background. Pretty much, unless you actually use the metacognition at the front, we don't stand a chance. We're literally designed to conserve energy and to find food that gives us the greatest energy boost. Okay? This is why it happens. We crave instant gratification. We don't really have a good understanding of how habits are built. And when life gets busy, we default to something that's easier and healthier. Okay, so let's think about, and I find this very interesting, what are the greatest regrets people tend to have at the end of their life? And if we look at these regrets, it's very rarely something that we've done. It's usually something that we haven't done. And I want us to think about that today. People, at their end of life, when they're having these regrets, they wish that they'd spent more time with loved ones. They wish they'd had the courage to live a life, a true life to themselves. They wish that they hadn't worked so much. I see that in Singapore. They wish they'd had the courage to express their feelings more, and they'd wish they'd stayed in touch with their friends more. And there's a big one for me. They wish they'd taken care of their health. These are not regrets of things that they've done. We all go through things like we have a few regrets, but the big things tend to be things that we haven't done. We need to have goals in life, and our goals are something that we shoot for. We should be shooting for our greatest vision for our life. We should have aims, which are objects and targets. And these should reflect and be in the pursuit of our reason for life, our why, our mission for life. So I believe strongly that the habits that we create should be reflecting our goals. So we should hold a perception inside of what is important. Then we can make smart goals that will take us towards our greatest mission in life. Whatever that is, it might be to be amazing at work, or it might be to be an amazing parent or amazing grandparent. Whatever is the most important thing, your highest level of living, if you like. Okay, but the moment that we become conscious of the fact that we tend to be operating with our mind operating from things that happened in the past, we're not creating this beautiful vision that we're moving towards. Okay, then once we realize that, then we've got a chance to change things. Okay, but of course, unless we have this awareness that we're constantly checking in and asking ourselves, are we following our goals? And then we tend to we have this invisible self-destruct button that you'll all appreciate. I know I've got it, and if we're not focusing and we're not coming back to our goals, then we automatically self-destruct. So let's talk about making some smart goals. What does that mean? Well, we want to progress in life in the right direction. So we want to make smart goals. What does this mean? Well, our goals want to be specific. We don't be vague about them. See them in your mind's eye so that they become exciting. And then you can manifest them, okay? Only once you've got them. This is a very powerful thing that I employ in my life. We want our goals to be measurable. We want to be able to define how we are making progress, how we are moving towards them. Of course, our goals want to be attainable. If they're too complicated or they are just so far out there, we can't work out how we're going to get there, then they are unattainable. They're not going to happen. Then, of course, they want to be relevant. They want to align with our values. They want to excite us. The very thought of how will we feel when we reach those goals, it should excite us. Certainly, we don't want to be picking habits that we hate, right? And then, of course, they want to be time-based. We want to set a completion date, we can work towards it, and then we can track it. Okay? I think that makes sense. This really is, we want to change the way we feel. We don't want to feel uncomfortable about what we're doing. We want to feel comfortable. We want to celebrate and feel joyful about the fact that we're moving towards a future where we have more control. And of course, the best way to create our future is to make it ourselves. I think this is the difference between a victim mindset or being a creator in this world, okay? We want to be proactive and not reactive, okay? Think about your environment, what happens around you. Are you in control of that environment, or does it very much control and stress you out? Without SMART goals, and I think we know this, if you don't have goals, then you will end up somewhere else. And look at this guy there. I mean, he's a real mess. But you know, he certainly doesn't have SMART goals. He's just lost. He ends up on the sofa making a real mess of life. We just don't want that to happen to us. So let's look at the science. Let's look at the science of habits. In every single habit, there are three parts. There's going to be a cue, there's going to be action, and there's going to be a reward at the end. So what I mean by a cue? Well, there's something that triggers the action, okay? Something that tells your brain to act in a certain way. That is the trigger. Then that is the trigger or the cue. And then what happens then? You have the action, which is the routine, and it's activated by the cue. Okay, this is what becomes automatic. This is the program we want to create if it's a good action. Of course, it can be negative. Drinking too much soda, eating the donut, taking that drink. You know, these actions or routines, they can be positive and they can be negative. Going for a run, going to the gym. These are good actions. But eating that donut, the dreaded donut, that would be bad. And then, of course, there's a reward. There's the cue that starts it, there's the action, and then there's the reward. This is the positive results from the action. This is why this behavior should be repeated, okay? If you get used to going for a run, you feel so good afterwards. This is good. I always feel really optimistic and empowered after I've had a good session in the gym. But I also feel pretty good after eating the donut, but only for a short time. Then the guilt sets in, right? I know you know what I mean. So ask yourself, do you have that vision in your head of who you really want to be? Because if you do, then you can start to manifest it. You can start to create a pathway. You can start to break it down. But it's really important that if you're going to create a roadmap of how to manifest that beautiful vision of yourself, you've got to first create that vision, okay? So it starts with the why. Why do you want to be that way? If you can get a really good grasp of why do you want to be that? For example, why do you want to lose weight? Is it because you want to look good? Or can we go deeper? Do you want to look good? But also, more importantly, you want to avoid disease, and you can spend more quality years with the ones you love. Now that is a much better than just looking good, right? People don't care that much about how you look, believe me, but they care a lot about you because they love you. They are your loved ones. They want you to lose weight, not so much so you look good, but so that you are healthy and that you don't suffer in the future. So I want you to start digging a bit deeper, ask a few more levels of questions, because these habits that we're creating all the time, they affect our future enormously, probably more than we think. I want you to think in terms of making small steps towards victory, because all these small steps, they add up into a big victory at the end. Now, I have certain rules, and you might understand that, but I'm pretty good at making rules for myself. I'm a doctor of natural health, right? I've got a vision for how I want to be, and I've broken it down into steps. And one of my golden rules is I try not to break the chain. And if I do, because we all have a bad day, something happens, something gets in the way, you don't go for that run, you eat the donut or whatever, but don't miss 2 days. As soon as you've missed 2 days, already you're creating a pattern. You've broken the good pattern and you've started a bad pattern. So you can have a day off every now and again, but then you get back on it on day 2. Okay? Important. Create a program. I'm a great list maker. I've got lists for everything. I've got plans going into the future. They're all broken down, and I've got times for it. And as soon as you write it down, it becomes a thing. It becomes real, and then you can work toward it. It's not just a flaky idea. Okay. Okay. So now you've got a vision. You've broken it down. You've created a program, but how are you going to make it more enjoyable? And this is what I do quite a lot. I bundle things. So let me give you an example. When I go to the gym, I'm nearly always listening to a podcast, or I might be listening to Audible. I might be listening to some kind of book that I'm reading. And if that's an educational book, then I've got 2 good habits going at the same time. I'm learning some good stuff while I'm on the treadmill. Oh, now I'm really killing it. So think of other bundles you can do. Well, here's another bundle. You might enjoy going for a run with a buddy. I do know that when I have a buddy, let me give you an example. During lockdown, I was at home for about 3 months, hardly without going out. So was my wife. So we actually got into a role of doing yoga every day. And every single day for 120 days. I kid you not, no word of a lie. We did at least 20 minutes to half an hour of yoga every single day. It was a program we followed. It became easy. And every now and again, she would want to miss, Vanessa would want to miss, or I would think I'm too busy, I can't do it. But we held each other accountable. And we never missed a day, 120 days, and we felt so good. So make yourself accountable, get a buddy. If you go for a walk with somebody. It's easier, it's more enjoyable, and they will hold you accountable, okay? So there again, I mentioned tracking progress. Find some way of measuring it, okay? Create a timeline, break it down. If you're measuring your weight, it's easy. But I know that almost anything you do with your body, you can push it slowly. Remember, we're taking little micro steps, but make it measurable, okay? Maybe you're using a watch to measure it. Maybe you're using a smartphone, or maybe you're just making a list or a tick box, and you can tick things off as you manage to get there, okay? As I said, I'm a favorite. Here's my list for today. And guess what? Things are being ticked off, right? This is me. This is what I do. And at the end of the day, I have tremendous pleasure making that final tick. And you know what? I might just reward myself with a glass of wine, okay? Because I deserve it. I've got through my list. I've made myself accountable. I showed up, and I'm working towards my highest values in life, okay? If you do all I'm saying, I guarantee you will enjoy life more. And I really do think you'll enjoy life more, because you're working towards your greatest vision in life. And life is there to be enjoyed. And you should design your life around the things that you love and the people you love. And if you do that, life won't seem like hard work. A healthy life shouldn't feel like hard work. If I don't exercise now, I feel guilty. I crave that exercise. Why do I crave it? Because I know I get endorphins when I work out. If I go for a walk with a dog and I push it, so I get a real good sweat on, I have endorphins at the end of it. I deserve to relax at the end of it. Okay, so live your life by design, not by chance. Okay, and remember, what we're working towards always has to include health. It is your greatest wealth. I know we work so hard working for these companies and what have you, and that is really, really important. But our companies, our families, everybody wants us to be healthy so we can be the best version of ourselves. So the best version of ourselves shows up every day, right? So start small, make a plan, and keep moving forward. Now, we all have off days, we all get sidetracked, but wherever we are in life, we can get our mindset. We've got that frontal lobe. We can gather our mindset. We can focus. We can change the way we look at things. There's a quote, one of my favorite quotes. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. And I love that quote, and it's very, 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 very true. So yes, what I've been mentioning works for everyone. We can literally build the life we want by creating habits, all the things that we need to do on a daily basis. Once we create a habit, and it's a good habit, it becomes automatic. You don't even have to think. So life is automatically becoming healthier, more efficient. Okay, this is going to give us more headspace for all the tricky things in life. How long does it take to make a habit? Depends on the habit you're trying to create. If it's an easy habit, it's 18 days. Sometimes it's 3 months if it's something more complicated and more involved. The average, scientifically, 66 days. So if you want to create something, so maybe you want to eat healthily, or maybe you want to lose weight or whatever, make a plan and make it 66 days long, okay? So that's 2 months. And so let's think about something, let's think about a takeaway that we could come away with today. Why not? Let's just think of one habit you'd like to break, and we've all got one, and one habit you'd like to add. Maybe it's that donut, okay? So this is what we've got to do. We've got to identify the cue, the spur. What makes us do that habit habitually? Is it walking past the cake shop, right? Identify the cue, then we can avoid it. So then we can identify the rewards. So by eating that donut, what is the reward? Well, you feel good, makes you happy for a short time. Okay, if we can replace that feeling with something else, okay? So now we can then try and establish a new routine that would change the routine and give us a new reward. So think about it. If you have a donut from the donut shop every single day, well, why don't we take a slightly different route? Don't walk past the donut shop. Why don't you walk past the juice shop and change the donut for a healthy juice? It won't, I guarantee that will take you probably less than 2 weeks to make a healthy change in your life. And you won't feel guilty. You'll still get a little bit of a sugar high, but it's a healthy high, okay? You've just done something good rather than something bad. And then because it's good, you're not going to get this drop in sugar, you're not going to feel anxious, you're not going to feel guilty, and you've created something that is really worthwhile, I believe. So let's get back to health. What is more important than your health? I can't think of anything. I really can't. Is being clinically is not being clinically sick your goal, or is it being vitally healthy? I mean, vitally healthy, so you can enjoy every single second, so you can really suck the juice out of life. Establishing healthy habits is the answer. Creating that healthy life, right? So let's understand. What habits would be good for you to make? I think that your habits should support the pillars of health. And these are the pillars. exercise or movement, nutrition, healthy weight, insulin management. Too many people got diabetes, sleep, toxicity. This is a very toxic world. Structural alignment. We cannot be healthy if our structure is out of alignment. So that is posture, minimizing stress and having a purpose in life and maintaining a positive mental attitude. These are my pillars, and I have got a plan for each of these. Okay, now look at those. Take a photograph of that slide. If you don't have a plan for each of those, then what is the plan? Are you just hoping for the best? So I'm not going to go through all of those, but I'm going to give you a couple of things today that maybe might be helpful. I meet many, many people who are always worried about weight management. They're always putting on weight. So this is my 3-step plan. It's happened a few times in life where for some reason I've put on weight, whatever. And it happened when I was at chiropractic school and I was just too busy. That was my excuse. So this is my 3-step plan. It works every single time. Now, some people don't need this plan. They've got their own plan. But if you are somebody that habitually holds too much weight, then please, you start with this. It's a 3-step plan. Start for 1 month. Here it is. Exercise, 1 hour a day. No rest days. Now that sounds a lot, doesn't it? But 10,000 steps works. 10,000 steps works. So what does that even look like? Well, what do? It's easy for me. I go to the gym most mornings and I go on the treadmill, half an hour, or the cross trainer. That's got most of my steps there. I also do a dog walk. You could get off the MRT and walk a couple of stops. That's walking for about an hour will give 10,000 steps. Okay, so an hour a day of walking, as long as you're raising your heart rate, that will work. Right, food. Exercise 1, secondly, food. You need to cut out sugar and flour and all the products of sugar and flour. So that's no pizzas, no burgers, no pasta. You can have rice and potatoes. These are okay, but only once a day. So 1 meal a day, you can have rice or potatoes. Other 2 meals is vegetables and protein. Okay, even better. Fish and veggies. Okay, that would be great. Third rule, golden rule, 2 liters of water every day. Okay, that is simple. Please don't tell me that's hard work. But of course, you've got to make it a habit. So there's no days off. If you do this, you will start losing weight. You will start feeling better, and you are taking control of your glucose in your blood and thereby your insulin and your weight management. Okay, simple. Write it down. Take a picture of that. Have a go. I guarantee it'll work for you. Okay, what about movement? Understand that the healthiest people on this planet don't even need to exercise. They just have active lives. So look at your routine. Is it sedentary? If it is, you've got to fix it. It's a fact that our ancestors, and I'm talking about our ancestors from 10,000 years ago, they used to move literally 200 times more than we do now. Look at yourself now. You're not moving, are you? But if you were one of your ancestors, I guarantee you'd be moving. You'd be doing something. You'd be finding food or building shelters or fighting off something. You would be moving. Okay? Make sure you get your 10,000 steps in. And as I said, cross training works, brisk walking works. Simple plans. Build a simple regime as you go through the day. If you're sitting at a desk all day, get up, every hour, do some push-ups, do some dry squats. What's a dry squat? I do a few every day. Stand up and you do some squats like this, right? You bang off a few of those, bang off 20 of them. You've done some good, right? You've worked the biggest muscles in your body, right? Your thigh muscles. They are now working again. They are burning fat, right? This is a good regime. stretching. We should stretch every day. Every hour, move away from your computer and do some stretching. And then on the bottom there, I put embrace chiropractic. Why embrace chiropractic? Because we look after your joints. You use them or lose them. Think about your posture. It's your alignment. We live in gravity. If our weight-bearing joints are out of alignment, then gravity will either, instead of making us strong, it will gradually destroy those joints. Okay? Your spine is a column of weight-bearing joints, and they simply must be in alignment. Okay? So if you want to age well, if you want to write something on your goals, on your list to something worthwhile that you want to manifest, then make it, I want to be healthy when I'm 60, 70, and 80. Then you need to have good posture, you need to have good alignment, and all your joints need to be going through full range of motion. And that's why I think everybody should embrace